This game is just a cash grab. They want to earn as much money as they can in the honeymoon phase and then close the game within a few months. This is the worst action game they ever played. Things that need improvement, in my opinion. Pretty much everything. Entire paragraphs worth of features. I noped out on day one because of how poorly polished the game was. Though that leaves me so incredibly excited to see what is to come. Oh, this looks good. This looks juicy. This looks really messed up. I have no idea what the developers were thinking when they released this game, but I mean, we're about to be in for a real good ride. Admittedly, I just downloaded and installed Danmachi Battle Chronicle. It's a game that I knew was coming out. It's a game that I was kind of excited for because it looks really good, and that's about the extent of what I know about the game. I just started playing it. I just started recording footage for it. And then I see this thread made over on Reddit titled "Absolute Clownery in Danmachi Battle Chronicle. The devs just stealth released a banner within 3 days of previous banner. The player base are furious." And I don't know why they do that. Like, I'm sure that the currency that you've accumulated over a 3-day period is incredibly limited. I'm sure you don't have nearly enough to actually afford the limited character to begin with, let alone additional limited characters that are released, unless you're banking on the whales spending as much money as they can in as small a time frame as possible, which means that this game is targeted purely towards whales, not your everyday run-of-the-mill average player like you, like me. So Danmachi Battle Chronicle released on the 24th and already has stingy currency income for summons, and the rates are god tier trash. That is great to know. I look forward to experiencing that firsthand as I continue to play the game. They released Haruhime on Sunday, and everyone summoned on her as she was the first individual character banner and a popular character with the low currency they had. That makes sense. It's first limited character. You anticipate having weeks or a month to slowly accrue currency. You can spend on additional characters. And then today, on Thursday, they dropped a banner with Ice and Lefia, two more popular characters, in the same banner, and no player has the currency to summon for it. Well, I mean, they state no player has the currency. There are definitely players that have the currency to summon for these characters. Just those players are the kinds of players that you typically tend to ignore because they just have so much money that they completely eclipse every other player in terms of power, in terms of item level, gear score, combat, every form that they can pay to advance through and dominate, they will. Those are the kinds of players that have the currency to summon for these heroes. Now, before we go any further into the quote-unquote absolute clownery in Danmachi Battle Chronicle, I want to take a moment to thank our incredible patrons over on Patreon who allow for me to continue to delve into new games like this every single day. You guys are insane. There was no information on Twitter. There was no information on the official Discord or anywhere. So you guys know, typically on social media, Gacha studios, they like to hype up the release of new characters, right? They make a tweet, they make a Facebook post, they discuss it on Discord, they let you know the update is going to bring this content, the update is going to feature these banner characters, and so you can get excited for them, and so you can make sure to save for them. You can put aside $5, $10, $20 and pay for them as they release. It's to build anticipation, to build excitement and hype, and they did not do that with this. Instead of building that anticipation and instead of allowing for people to save their currency if they wanted to, they're just like, here, this is for the whales in the community that want it, or for those of you that don't want to miss out on this incredible opportunity while you can, because who knows when these characters are going to be made available again. So this in turn assures that they will have as high a first month financial as possible. More people will spend money in the first month purely to obtain all 3 limited banner characters. This will artificially inflate their total gross income for the month. This will make it seem like the game is much more popular and much more of a financial success than it is. This is a very shady thing to do, but it will also bolster their ratings, bolster their rankings, artificially inflating the rankings on the Play stores. The game is god tier trash already with the gem income, but this takes it to a whole new level. get out of this game if you're playing it, and do not ever download this game to play. I mean, I'm gonna be real here. Unfortunately, I need to. Like, I do it for this channel, so I feel obligated to, but I mean, if this is how they're treating their players, I would 100% get behind this sentiment. I would advise you to not play it. Now, I do not know whether this game is good or bad. I will preface this by saying I have no idea if the game is as horseshit as they're saying it is, or if it is just people over-exaggerating or overreacting. I don't know. I'm going to get to experience that myself over the course of the next week. With that in mind, let's see what some of the other commenters have to say, because I'm curious. And that might give us a little bit more of a look into the minds of the player base, see what they're thinking. Because this guy claims they are, in fact, furious. Let's see if that's true. The game is poorly balanced, low content, stories released unfinished, series 1 to 4 are all released, but series 1 isn't finished, and 2 to 4 only have a single chapter each. Oof. Lots of paid banners and packages, mostly arts ripped from other Danmachi games or scenes taken straight from the anime and added in for the story. That actually reminds me of Eminence in Shadow, which was also, I think, kind of a lower quality game. It's like the lowest of the lowest effort cash grab, and it's hard to imagine the game making it to a year. I'm playing it out of boredom, but if you played seriously, you kinda asking to get scammed. Oh, here we go. They're the people that made Eminence in Shadow. Okay, I understand. I see now how they're connected. All right, I gotta get comfy for these. These are probably gonna be some pretty juicy comments over on Reddit. This game is just a cash grab. They want to earn as much money as they can in the honeymoon phase and then close the game within a few months. That makes sense. This is the worst action game they ever played. I play Honkai Impact 3rd, Punishing Gurraven, and Ether Gazer. I would recommend you stick with those if I'm being entirely honest. This game is replacing Don Memo. I mean, that kind of blows. I would advise you to stick with Don Memo if you prefer it, but I mean, if this game is replacing it, then you're going to be homeless. The player base should downvote this game. I mean, if the game is genuinely as bad as they're claiming it is, then yeah, go ahead, downvote the game, leave a bad review, rate it 1 star, make sure your voice is heard. Things that need improvement, in my opinion. Pretty much everything. Entire paragraphs worth of features. I noped out on day 1 because of how poorly polished the game was, though that leaves me so incredibly excited to see what is to come. It has the worst auto mode in entire Gacha basket. Oh joy. Aiming Inc. is basically the new Scum in Town. Oh boy. An end of service speedrun. I mean, let's be real, that kind of goes to, I think, the new Closers game. Closers RT New Order, which shut down 4 hours after launching. People need to talk with their wallets. Exactly. Like, if you don't want this shit to happen, just don't spend money. It's that simple. Because, let's be honest, if nobody is spending any money, then they're going to think twice about doing this again in the future. Now, I think this is a really fucked up situation, but I mean, gacha games and devs are becoming more and more greedy and caring less and less about their players. That's unfortunate, but that is the general state of the genre right now. The only way we can stop this from devolving further, from deteriorating further, is by not giving them money, not playing their games. Dedicate your time and spend your money in games with studios, developers that care about their players. Go and play and spend money in Arknights. Go and play and spend money in Blue Archive. Go and play and spend money in Azure Lane. Go and play and spend money in Punishing Grey Raven. Support the games that are continuing to show that the devs themselves care about their respective communities. Now, if Danmachi Battle Chronicle is not a game you're interested in, absolutely no problem. I got you covered with 2 different videos on screen right now. It might be of more interest to you.